It's actually really easy to feel superhuman. Welcome to this episode of the Limitation Is A Mirage podcast. This week I talked to a few different people about why I think that I'm a superhuman and why I tell people that they can become superhuman as well. And one of the things that came up a few times was, is it not wild hard to be superhuman? And my example of being a superhuman is just doing slightly more than normal people. If you're willing to do slightly more than normal people, then you will become superhuman compared to them. So I'm not saying you're going to learn how to fly or punch through walls, but some people can do variations of that. They can't fly. I've never met anyone who can fly, but I've seen people punch through bricks. I broke bricks, so they're what walls are made of. So technically you could claim you can punch through a wall. That's not the point at all, but back to what I'm talking about. So being superhuman, if you just want to improve yourself, the only way that you will feel at doing that is by doing nothing. If you sit around all day thinking, I would love to be a writer, but you don't read books, you don't learn about writing, you don't reach out to people that write, then you'll never become a writer. So it will just be a crazy dream that you tell your mates, and your mates go, yeah, fair play to you, that would be amazing. They know you're not going to do it because you're not working towards it. That's how you feel at things. You feel before you even begin. Most people feel out of fear or feel out of laziness. Whatever it is, you won't get there if you don't put in the work. That's the gist of it. So whenever people ask me about feeling superhuman, why do I feel like I'm a superhuman? Why do I talk about it all the time? Why did they make a journal and call it the SuperHuman Journal? Because every day I work towards bettering myself. People that, if I think of it, I know I always use this symbol with my hands. For listeners, I'm pointing my fingers at each other. Whenever I think about my life, I am improving from who I was years ago. Like right back to school, whenever I didn't really read, I couldn't really write, I wasn't very active, I didn't really do anything really. I didn't live up to any potential, never mind my own potential. I did nothing with my schooling and nothing with a couple of years after until I got into martial arts. Once I got into martial arts, I started to realize that there's people that were better than me, and the thing that made them better was they practiced more. So if I practice more than them, then I can become better than them. And then over time, I know that's not the way to look at things, and I would teach you not to do that, but that's how I started. I started looking at other people and going, how is he able to do that when I can't? Then I trained to be able to do it. Now I look at where I was when I started this entire journey, and compared to that Liam, I am a fucking superhuman. If that Liam met me now, he would think I was the most awesomest, badass person he ever met in his life. Because of the stuff that I do, he would have looked at that and seen, when we saw magazines come into the shop, Kung Fu magazines, and we'd look at people like Ian Armstrong, and you'd see him breaking bricks and bending spears and doing Kung Fu, you'd be like, this is madness. And then you'd see like Tom Lamont or Gary Turner, they're all winning championships, and you'd be thinking, they must be super special. There's something about them that's different than anyone else in the world. And you start to slowly realize that the difference is they put the work in, they make the effort, and they train hard. It's why they're the sort of people, when I started to get into this, like Ian was my first ever master, because I wanted to do what he could do. And then when I watched him, I did what I say to people. I didn't just do what he told me to do. I did that, obviously, because that's how Kung Fu works. But I watched Ian train, and I thought, well, what's he doing? I'm going to secretly practice that move as well. And I did what I had to do. I did what I was told to do, but I did what they were doing as well. And it's the same whenever it comes to like self-development. Whenever I was with Craig and I started to ask Craig about how to get better at hypnotherapy, he told me what to do and what to read. And then I would ask him on the side, well, what are you reading or what are you into? And then he would talk about linguistics and other things, PTSD, things like that I didn't even know I needed to know. But because he was reading, I read what I needed to read. I did what I needed to do, but I also watched and read things that he was reading. So by the time it got to that stage, it wasn't a new thing completely to me. It was something that I had seen. Even when I learned a new Kung Fu form, I'd watched Ian do the form, or I'd watched Tom do the form. So I knew that somewhere in my brain I had seen that, and I can, if I can see it, then I can do it. So why do I keep telling people that they can be superhuman? If I said a superhero, then that's, people can just laugh and look at that and go, well, I can't fly or I can't run super fast or whatever. But being superhuman is about just being better. Being better than who you are now, even if you're already fucking awesome. Like, I think I'm awesome right now, but tomorrow I will do more things to make me better. so that in a year I look back at this Liam on this podcast and I think, fuck, do you remember whenever you couldn't do that or this or whatever? And yes, I do converse with my past self and my future self. I like to see where my progression is. So I liked it when I was doing martial arts, when I was stretching, when I was learning a form. I knew, well, I'm halfway through the form where I can touch my knees now I can touch my toes, so on and so forth. I see the progressions, I see where I'm going, so it makes it much easier for me to go in that direction and keep moving forward. So do I believe anyone can become superhuman? Yes, I believe that you can be better than you are now, even if you're already fucking awesome. I just believe you have to want it. You have to be willing to try to move forward. If you're willing to do that, and if you're actually do that, you look back at yourself, and I've said this many times, you can look back at yourself in a year and think, who the fuck was that guy? Or who was that girl? Or who was that boy? Or who was that teenager? Whatever, you just look back at yourself and think, that person had so much more potential, and they were doing nothing with it. And then you see how far you've come since you've put in the effort and the belief in yourself. You have to believe that you can achieve it. It's good to focus on my belief in you first. Sometimes you need that. Sometimes you need to focus on the belief in someone else has in you, and then use that to keep you moving forward until you eventually believe in yourself. I think it was Les Brown or somebody that said a version of that. I'm paraphrasing, obviously. But that's what you can do. I know I keep directing over here because in my head that's where the old me is. He lives over there and he's like, how's it going? You're doing brilliant. Keep going. And that old version of me in a year will be this version of me now. And the newer version will be over there, and so on and so forth. When I see all that, I track who I am, what I want to be, what I'm doing, how I'm getting there. And that's how I get there. The only way to feel at becoming better, becoming superhuman, becoming the best possible version of yourself is by doing nothing. And that goes for anything in life. If you want to get better at something, practice, focus, consistency, that will get you there. Sitting about wishing or wanting or hoping or blaming other people for your situation will get you nowhere. So that's just what I wanted to get across today. I know it was a bit of a rant about being superhuman. I think it's awesome to be superhuman. I pointed at my journal. My journal's now on Amazon just now since I pointed at it. So go and buy it because, you know, you deserve a journal. Everybody should journal, and my journal is a great place to start. So buy my journal. Whilst you're there, buy my book because then you'll get free delivery if you buy 2 things. If you already have the book, buy it and give it to someone else. Just make sure to buy it. Buy my stuff. Anyway, be superhuman. They'll help you become superhuman. Sales pitch. Marketing. Anywho, so yeah, I fully believe if you're listening to this, then you want to change in some way. You've been following me. You want to be better. This is your opportunity now. This is the kick in the ass for you to go, right, I'm going to do it. I'm going to improve. I'm going to reach out to Liam. I'm going to reach out to somebody else. I'm going to improve my life. I'm going to get better. And the way to do that is by just starting. So thanks again for tuning in. I hope you have an amazing time, whatever you get up to, and I will speak to you again soon.